In many ways, this is Amir Khan's best performance in recent memory. Pretty much won every round, maybe give or take 1, 2 at worst case, against Devon Alexander. Now, as I highlighted in my pre-fight video, Devon Alexander has only ever been beaten by guys like Tim Bradley and Sean Porter, who on the night kind of wrestled with him, roughed him up on the inside, outstrengthed him, overpowered him, however you want to phrase it. Amir Khan showed something completely different tonight. He fought on the outside, but he was able to shut Devon Alexander down when Devon tried to bring the fight inside. Khan was able to perfect his range, fight very effectively from long distance, and really keep the fight outside when it suited him, and when Devon Alexander forced it on the inside, closed the action down. Khan's hand speed was, as always, electrifying. His combination punching, his footwork, it was a very, very, very taking performance. And, as I say, in my opinion, one of the best fight performances we've seen from Amir Khan. Devon Alexander really is a very, very decent fighter. This is a guy, as I say, who took every single round off Marcus Maidana when they fought. This is a guy who got the decision against Lucas Matisse. This is a guy who came into the ring weighing 157 pounds. The fact that he's previously been a light welterweight, I'm not saying Devon Alexander's the biggest welterweight out there, but he came in, as a big sort of, he came in as a middleweight effectively at 157 pounds. And Devon Alexander, a guy who's known for his boxing technical ability, his ring craft, his slick skills, was totally outclassed and outworked by Amir Khan. Effectively, Khan was completely dominant on the outside, and he was able just to negate Devon's game. Devon couldn't cut down the ring on Amir. Devon couldn't launch an effective inside technique against Amir. It was pretty much all Khan, and for me, very, very impressed. I appreciate that his new style, which seems to be much more disciplined, much less of a brawler, more of a sort of outside disciplined boxer, maybe takes away some of the excitement that we associate with Amir Khan and with Amir Khan fights. But I mean, let's be honest, things had to change with Amir Khan. He clearly had potential to be a world-class fighter, and he was throwing it away by getting involved into scraps, not using his God-given gifts. And as we saw today, if he performs with that discipline, if he fights at range, uses his hand speed, tries to avoid getting sucked into a barroom brawl, he really can be a very, very impressive fighter at welterweight. And that's something I wanted to touch on just briefly. As I understand it, Amir Khan came to the ring last night as 160 pounds. Keith Thurman did an interview on IFL TV where he said that he didn't view Amir as a welterweight. He viewed him very much as a light welterweight who'd kind of blown up a bit. Well, at 160 pounds, to have that speed, to be, it perhaps gives some reasoning to why Amir was becoming less effective at light welterweight. If he is genuinely walking around at that big, and let's be honest, he wasn't carrying any fat on him, so if he's walking around at that big without fat, he must have been really dehydrating, really boiling down in order to make the light welterweight limit. So I think with that being the case, you can perhaps have some understanding as to why an individual's punch resistance may not be at its optimum. I'm not trying to make excuses for past performances. What I am saying is, to me, it isn't a negative that he's moving up in weight. He looks to me to be a very solid welterweight. He doesn't look to be an overly small welterweight. The way he fights using reins, using length, can still be effective. He's not too short at the weight. He's not got too short of reach at the weight. His technique is still effective. The increase in weight hasn't affected his speed, hasn't affected his punch work, his footwork or his hand speed. So really, really a lot to like. Again, I've just watched the fight once. I need to do a bit of reflection before I start making predictions about how a Khan Mayweather fight would go. What I would say is that there are some similarities between Alexander and Mayweather. Now, Mayweather is certainly far, far more advanced than Alexander, but there are some similarities. And the way Alexander has dispatched of guys like Matisse, I know that was a close fight, and Madonna, the way Khan beat him tonight does make you think there isn't much room between Amir Khan and the very, very top of the sport. We saw Tim Bradley lose last night. We saw Keith Thurman fight in a fight that really has the fans split. Potentially Amir Khan really isn't that far away from the top of the sport. Let me know your thoughts. Were you impressed by this fight? Do you miss the old school Amir Khan throwing caution to the wind? Thanks for watching.